You're the guy who sits down at the table and says, "Hi, I'm Greg.
How you doing?
What's your name? What's your favorite color?"
Social butterfly.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
So you're extrovert all the way?
Yeah, for sure.
Never shy?
No. That's probably why people think I'm cocky.
Complete this sentence for me. The secret to financial freedom is...
You do have a giant hand.
Everyone's like, it's like a bear paw.
It's a big motherfucker. Well, mine aren't very good. Jesus!
What's your definition of success?
Definition of success is,
You've brought up your family a few times. You do have a beautiful family, but you did allude to the fact that you failed as a father.
I did.
How?
You know, I want to say I'm not happy with where I am now. I feel like a piece of shit a lot of the time.
Really?
I do. I'm not in a good place right now mentally. I'll admit that. Yeah, I'm going through a lot right now.
Hey, buddy. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Welcome to the Barbells and Bourbon Podcast, the podcast that allows real people to tell real stories. I am your big, bald, bearded, barbell lifting, bourbon drinking son of a bitch, Shaun. And joining me today is Gregg Rudolph.
What's going on?
Welcome to our home, Greg.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you. Greg, you're a CEO of multiple businesses. You are co-founder of a business, which is kind of lurking behind us here. Entrepreneur spirit.
Yes.
Complete this sentence for me. The secret to financial freedom is...
Having a lot of discipline and patience.
Yeah. It does take a lot of patience, doesn't
Yes.
it? Because you're not always going to succeed in the decisions that you make, especially
Yes.
as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Have you ever failed?
Absolutely. I've failed a lot. I've failed more than I've won.
Elaborate.
So, I've done many, many, many things. I've even had other supplement lines with Pat before that didn't make it, that failed. But I've failed in a lot of things, man. I've failed in real estate before. I've failed at a company I built when I was 19 years old. It was a little out of my control, but I failed that big time, and that really changed the course of my life from that moment on. But I failed in a lot of things, man. I failed as a father. I've failed as a human being, but I've learned from it, and I got better. And that's, I think, the difference between someone staying a failure and someone becoming a better person, better businessman, better person, better father, better husband.
I agree, man. And I think we all have to fail. That's the only way we really learn from our, I hate to say mistakes, but in the moment, it's a mistake if it doesn't work out your way, or if you hurt someone, but that's the only way to learn. So
failure is a part of life, and what you do after failure is what determines the kind of person that you are. I highly believe that, for sure.
Yeah. And you're still going to fail, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like
Absolutely.
you've reached the peak of the mountain.
The more risks you take, the more you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't take the risks, you're never going to know if you're going to succeed or fail. So you have to take the risks in order to get to the next level.
Yeah.
But as you get older and the more failures you make, the less mistakes you're going to make along the way. So the likelihood of failing goes down.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that's just the school of hard knocks. That's doing the shit and failing at it.
Get knocked down.
Yes, but you got to get back up and you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. So your answer was discipline.
Yeah.
Consistency, perseverance. What kind of ingrained you with those qualities? Because I doubt, you're in your 40s now. You've come a long way. What sort of ingrained that discipline in you? Can you take me back to your childhood and sort of paint that picture for us?
So, I would love to sit here and say I grew up with, struggles and I had, I got this great story of adversity, but I grew up in, a really nice neighborhood with successful parents. I had everything that I ever wanted given to me as a child. I grew up in like a country club lifestyle, basically. Went to private school, went to private high school, and then got kicked out of there and ended up being in public school. But I had a really good childhood. I never really suffered or had any type of adversity there. But I did have, I'll tell you what I did have. I did have a custom lifestyle, which I think I was used to. And I think that was like the standard that I thought that I would want to give my family. And I always from day one when I was a kid, I always wanted to own my own business. You know, I looked at my dad as owning his business and seeing his lifestyle and being at the country club and driving nice cars and taking us on beautiful vacations. And I always wanted to do that for my family. So I always had it ingrained in my soul that I wanted to do that. And I believe that I took it to the next level because it's a funny story, dude. Like I did like 1 year in college and I just didn't want to be in college. I had some money that paid for it and I partied a lot there. And I was like, this is just a waste of my time. I just want to go home and make money. And my parents had a successful business at the time. And my brother was there years before me. He's older than me, a couple years older than me. And he kind of did the same thing, left college and started working directly with my parents. And at the time when I got out of college, I was like, all right, what am I going to do? Am I going to go work for my parents? And they didn't really have anything for me to do. And it was just like, hey, go find a job. I was like, so I kind of took it personal. And I was like, man, all right, well, I'm going to show everybody.
So you were kind of spoon-fed your whole life up to this point, and then they're just kind of like,
yeah, I was like, you got to find your own path,
yeah,
type of thing, which I'm completely glad it happened that way. It's a blessing in disguise. And I started a company called Rudolph Enterprises, tree service and construction company. And that was my first like really big thing that I did. I got a $50,000 line of credit from the bank that my parents had to co-sign for because I had no credit at the time.
Oh, how old were you? 20s?
I was 19.
Okay.
And I bought a bunch of chainsaws, some climbing gear, a dump truck off my buddy. I repainted it so it looked like brand new, a chipper, a bucket truck. And basically I financed a pickup truck, bought a trailer, stump grinder. So I had like the whole setup. I had everything.
What did you know about this business before going into it?
I didn't know much.
Okay.
I knew that I could do it because I actually shadowed a friend of mine for a couple weeks. I asked if I could come work with him. And I was like, can I learn how you bid jobs and how you do things? And he was more than gracious. And he was like, yeah, come work with us. I'll even pay you. I was like, I don't even need paid. I just want to learn the whole structure. Yeah. And did that for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can do this.
Did you know construction and tree service?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew construction very well.
Okay.
I grew up construction. I've worked with, construction my whole entire life. So, I mean, I've literally like remodeled my whole entire house before.
Oh, I see. You're very busy working on your
I
own.
like working with my hands. I like to get dirty. I can do everything. Concrete,
awesome.
framing. I mean, I do it all.
That's cool.
So
you start your business at 20 years old?
Yeah. And then my first year, I did like a little over $300,000. Paid off my line of credit and got more equipment, hired more people, grew the business. And, that really, dude, I was like 21 years old paying myself $250,000 a year. And I had a bunch of cars and cool shit. Anything I wanted to do.
Living the dream.
I was living the dream. And I did that for quite a while. And that's what people nicknamed me, the lumberjack. That's where that came from. And I thought I would be doing it for a very, very long time. And I ended up filing bankruptcy, let's see, in 2014.
What happened?
Dude, it was a fucked up shit. So obviously I had a daughter, my oldest daughter, Gia. She's 18 years old now, but she developed leukemia at a very early age, and she got it bad enough where we were doing, I don't know, 2-3 month stints at Children's Hospital. And at the same time, somebody was trying to sue me because they fell out of a tree. Totally negligent
worked
on
with
them.
you?
Yeah, they were on drugs. I had to go to court over that for a year. Ended up beating that because the dude was all jacked up on drugs at the time that I didn't know. And then it's just like so much things kept snowballing, and I couldn't keep up with the demand and the bills. Like when your business grows, so do your bills. You know, you have to get more equipment. You know, things are costly.
Sure.
And at the time, I was like, I'm just in a big enough hole where I got some advice, and they're like, man, just file bankruptcy, Chapter 11, start over. And that's what I did.
That kind of just like clears out your debt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know much about it.
Kind of. You know, I still, depending on the case, it's case by case, but you know, you could basically pick and choose what you want to keep. So before I did it, I paid my house, I paid for in cash at the time. I remodeled it and I put it in my parents' name. So like they could never touch the house I was living in. So I always had a place to stay. But I had like a bunch of cars and, you know, a boat and stupid shit, snowmobiles and, you know, everything.
Toys.
Yeah. And, you know, some of it, they're like, you can keep whatever you want to keep. I lost some real estate over that deal too. I had like 7 or 8 units, a couple duplexes and stuff like that, that I sold before it. But then like some of them, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep it. So we, you know, they took some of those, and it was just really demeaning at some point. I was like, man, I got to start over. My credit's shot for a couple years. It was really demoralizing, honestly. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but it was the same time I met my wife, and same time I just started like fighting and getting some clout in the city and, you know, my hometown, and I looked like I got my shit together, but then, you know, meanwhile I'm going bankrupt, and I'm still at the point where I'm just trying to, you know, maintain an image and stuff like that. But that's one thing I credit my wife for. She met me when I was flat broke, and, you know, she's amazing. We built our life together. You know, without her, I would never have anything I have right now. That's for sure. So that's what it was rough. It was rough.
It sounds rough. And so the first business you start failed.
Yeah, it did.
So what does that do for you moving forward? Once you finally kind of like got your shit back together and filed for the bankruptcy and things kind of settled out, what was the next step? How do you get back on your feet?
Dude, the next step after there, man, it was I didn't find it for a while. I was just so angry for a long time. I got in a lot of trouble. I drank a lot, and I would get into a lot of fights. Not like private fights, you know, out in the bars, and I would look for them and start them and just be a complete asshole, you know, and my friends still talk about this. They're like, remember this? Remember that? Remember? I'm like, yeah, I was fucking nuts. Yeah. I know, I remember. But
thanks for bringing it up.
I grew up a lot, which makes for good stories now.
Yeah.
But, you know, I grew up a lot and learned from the mistakes that I made. But I ended up just wanting to fight for a while. But the trouble I got in, it was either, dude, you're like on the path of going to jail for a while over assault charges, or you can get your shit together. So I had an opportunity to train with my buddy Rick Borowski, which is one of my closest friends to this day. He was just getting into mixed martial arts at the time, and he was like, dude, you should just come to the gym and train. And I cornered him in a fight before, like the week before he said that. I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome. Like, you in there, I watched you knock this dude out. I got chills everywhere down my spine. And I was like, I want to do this. So we started training, and we went to a couple gyms here and there, and I just took it from there. And I started training at the Pittsburgh Fight Club with a bunch of my friends there. And, you know, I was there back then. That's where all the talent was. And I made friends with the owners, and not too long later, they offered me to buy it from them for $1 because they were trying to get out of that business, and they're like, here, inherit this business for $1 and run it, because they knew I had a little bit of an entrepreneurial background, and I probably could run it for them and this and that, and like inherited all the cages, the boxing ring, everything, all the equipment. They're like, here's, take over the rent, take over the utilities, boom, $1. So it was turnkey. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it, you know, and I got to train, work, make money at the same time. I worked with a lot of kids there, which was really fun to me. I love working with kids. And I took it from there and trained with some people and got good at fighting and took some fights. And that's what I did for 2-3 years, was just fight and have fun. And then it got to the point where I was like, I got to start making some money because I'm not doing well financially. And, I was used to making a couple $100,000 a year.
Right.
Then you go to making 30, 40 grand a year. You're like, oh, your lifestyle
That's a different lifestyle.
changes, right? And
So you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
You're fighting.
just
Would you
wasn't-
say fighting saved your life in a way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. I think it not only saved my life, not like literally, but no, I am going to say it literally changed my life, because without it, I wouldn't have the discipline I have. I don't think I would have the mental toughness that I have, the resilience that I have. I'll tell you what else it did. It humbled the shit out of me. And any man that's never been humbled before, I'm telling you, that's something you need to go through in life, is a humbling experience. And it will change not only the course of your life, but it'll change who you are as a human being. And it really puts perspective on things when you're humbled, because you appreciate things more.
You've been humbled a few times now.
Oh, dude.
You were top dog, filed for bankruptcy,
Oh,
right? And then I'm sure you had a successful fighting career, which we can
dude.
get into.
I've been humbled this year. This has been a crazy year for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here I am, back to rebuilding stage. And it never stops, ever.
So before this episode, I didn't really know much about you, right? I mean, we know each other. I follow you on social media. I didn't really know much about your backstory. I definitely had a perception of you. And I've heard you have a reputation,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Some good, some bad. And I've heard a little bit of both. And however that makes you feel is however it makes you feel. I'm just going to be open with you.
Oh, yeah.
But I never would have guessed that you had been knocked down so many times.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean?
Constantly.
But that makes me feel better about myself, because I don't have all my shit together yet.
Yeah.
You know,
None of
some
us
people
do.
think I do. And, you know, we all have our struggles, but I'm kind of glad that you're not the top dog, because I
Far
can
from
relate
it.
to you now.
Yeah, I'm just a regular dude trying to make it. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And I got a big heart. A lot of people can say I'm an asshole that don't know me. A lot of people can say I'm a great person. A lot of dude, the higher you climb in life, the more your ass shows. And from experience, if you're not being hated on, you're not doing something right. You know what I mean? You're doing the wrong thing then. Unfortunately, we live in a society now, and I hate it, because it's like I'm extremely supportive of everybody, one of my friends that are trying to do something with their life, trying to start a business. I send people random messages at night. Proud of you. This is awesome. Oh, you just opened up this blah blah blah. This is so awesome. Congratulations, man. But we live in a society now where people are they don't either have the balls to do it themselves or the means to do it. So they just try to cut you down, and they're just out of jealousy, or they just, like, you should be supporting everyone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of person I am. And I'm super supportive over everybody. And, I don't give a shit what people say about me. I don't give a shit what people think about me.
As you
At the end
shouldn't.
of the day, I care what I go home to, whether my kids care about me and whether my wife cares about me, and the people that are in my circle, that I have an influence over their life. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And if you're around me and if you're around for the ride, cool. I'll take care of you.
I respect that, man. I mean, I used to only care about what people thought about me. I would
Fuck
live
that.
to please others. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't.
And it's exhausting.
It is. It'll break you down. It'll wear you down. You shouldn't care what anybody thinks about you.
Yeah. That's slowly starting to fade
Yeah.
away. It takes time.
At the end of the day, are they going to do anything for you? No. Where are they going to be when you're struggling? They're not going to be helping you.
No.
They're going to be laughing at you. They're like, haha, yes,
yeah.
he's struggling.
Yeah.
They're going to be cheering for your demise.
Yeah.
You
So,
know?
I have a example that I just actually heard yesterday. I was on a golf outing yesterday for the Franklin Regional Football Team.
Hot day to be in a
Oh, it was terrible. But a good friend of mine, had invited me to play. And that's kind of like the once or twice a year that we see each other is during golf outings. I had an affair with my now ex-wife years ago. and his wife still views me as the devil.
Yeah.
It's been, I think, 10 years, and he's still not allowed to hang out with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying this to the world. Whatever. It is what it is. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't affect your life.
Nah.
How did what I do affect your life? Right? He thinks I'm gonna like be a bad influence on her husband or something. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm just like, I don't care, dude.
Yeah, it's 10 years is a long time.
Yeah. You would think they'd get over it by now.
There's circumstances to everything.
Sure.
You know? But
anyways, yeah. You shouldn't care what people think.
No, I don't. I don't at all. I don't. You know, and if I'm like one of those people that if you're not supporting me when I'm starving, then I don't want you around when I'm feasting type of thing. And I keep tabs. Like I know. I don't make comments to anybody. But like I get things sent to me when people are talking shit. Like, oh, look what he's doing now. You know? Like fucking smart ass. Like I see that shit. But I even then I don't say anything. I don't reach out.
Yeah.
I just wish everybody good luck. Karma's a bitch. It always will be, and it's real.
I admire people like you. You know, I'm not going to be like talking shit on you. Why would I? You haven't done anything to me.
No, I'm just trying to provide listen, life is very short. We're not here for a long time. If you're lucky, you're here for 80 years. If you're lucky. But do what makes you happy. Do what makes you comfortable. Like, I love my kids. I love my family. I want to be able to take care of my family. That's my main goal in life, is to take care of my family and the people around me, my friends. And I like having the pressure on me to support for others as well, like having employees or people that depend on you. I thrive on that. I like it. I feel important. And that's my way of giving back, I feel, is being able to give somebody some leadership advice or whatever. I don't know if I have to, giving you a bi-weekly paycheck, whatever it is. If you work for me, if you work with me, I like to say you work with me and work for me, but like I enjoy that. That's what makes me tick, is to help other people. Whether I look like that is me or not, I don't care. People will say whatever they want, but I really enjoy helping people that deserve it. Honestly, I like people that are hardworking, that just want to build something and have the discipline to do it, or the balls to do it. That's what really I like. And I've been involved in a lot of young people's lives where they went from doing nothing to making $500,000, $600,000 a year. And I get them to a certain point and they take it from there. Honestly, I can't take credit for everything they do, but I'm sure as hell going to take credit for getting them that opportunity, getting them there, getting them, mentally stable through the ups and downs. And that's what I enjoy.
As you're getting older, do you feel like you are starting to kind of narrow down your friend circle a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. My circle gets tighter and smaller.
And why does that happen? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Well, it happens because not only do the older you get, I have a 2.5-year-old and a 5.5-year-old. So there's really, I don't get out that much on the weekends anymore. It's like, hey, come home from work, swim in the pool, hang out with the family, and watch Netflix all night with the wife. Like, that's my life. And occasionally, we go out together and do the family stuff, or we have a date. But you don't get the guys' nights that often anymore. So you do lose circles of people that never get married. They're still in the bar life. I enjoy going out and relieving some stress every now and again. And don't get me wrong, I still do that every once in a while. And my wife doesn't give me too much shit about doing that. But you have that circle of friends that you'll always talk to. But they're still single. They're still out, chasing tail. I'm at 40 some years old. Like, I can't relate to that anymore.
Yeah.
I got to get up and go to work. I'm busy. Even Saturdays and Sundays, I'm getting up and doing stuff. Like, I can't be hungover in beds, So you lose like that circle. But you also, the more disciplined you get And the more successful you become, you have to limit the shit and the negativity around you, because like negativity and just people that don't want to do anything, it's like, imagine having a bowl of fruit and you got a bunch of ripe peaches, and then you find one rotten peach and you put that rotten peach in the bowl. You come back the next day, the whole fucking bowl is rotten.
Yeah.
Like that shit spreads so fast. And I just don't want to be, anybody in this position doesn't want to be part of it anymore. And I just think, you know, as the older you get, your circle becomes the people you make money with, the people you support, the people that support you, your family, you know. And so I still have, you know, my core group of friends from high school I talk to every day, and they come over and this and that, and I'll never lose them. But the people I see all the time are people that I'm in business with and people that I coach and help and things like that.
Similar mindset, similar goals, similar drive.
Yeah.
I've been doing the same thing the older I get, and the more things I kind of take on to keep myself even busier is you kind of have to keep those certain circles at a distance.
You do.
Not that you're not friends anymore, but you can't let them too far in.
You limit it
Yeah.
here and there, you know.
Because just like you said, one negative mindset, one rotten piece of fruit, and that could affect the way you think about life and business and get you in a certain mood, and it could just take you down.
Yeah. It's people, you know, have the expression, show me your circle, I'll show you your future. It's like, you show me your network, I'll show you your future too.
Yeah.
Like the people you network with is very, very important. That's something I've been really good at, is just networking with different people that have similar mindsets. And it's gotten me pretty far. And, you know, I can make a phone call to all different sorts of different people if I need something. And I wouldn't be doing that if I never networked or got outside my comfort zone and that, you know, original network of people. And you have to grow. You have to grow as a human being.
Sure.
Especially if you want to, you know, be successful. You have to grow. You have to keep evolving.
Yeah. So you own a boxing gym now, or a fighting gym. You need to make money. What do you do to make the money, man?
Yeah, so I was like, I can't do this anymore. My buddy Mark Cherico, who was a beast at MMA in the city, he's a fucking legend. He was basically like the general manager, him and Kama Worthy, at the gym at the time. And they were basically running it. I told Mark, I was like, hey, here's the same deal that they gave me.
$1.
And he just like gladly took it. And he took it even further than what I did. You know, he put a beautiful gym and training facility in the back. He did that for a few years, and then he did the same thing to Kama. Like, here you go. And then Kama took it to something else, and you know, Kama still owns the same thing. It's a different name now, but Kama's still training people and still, you know, still involved in the MMA. And so I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? So I was fighting, and like I'd make like 25 grand on a fight because I'd have a bunch of sponsors, 30 grand, whatever. And I was just to the point where I was like, man, I got to figure it out. And in the meantime, I got to find a fucking job. And, you know, my wife always made money. She's a beast. She's very good at what she does. She's a marketing guru. So she's a marketing director for a very large company now, but she's always made really good money. And, you know, so we never struggled. But at this time, I was like, man, I can't be a piece of shit and live off my wife. Like, that'll never happen.
Sugar mama.
Ego, whatever, it'll never happen. I believe men should provide, and that's just how I am. Not being egotistical in any way, shape, or form, but like, you're a man, you need to provide. And I couldn't live like that. So, dude, I took a job at Watson Chevrolet in the service department. And I'm not a service type of person. Like, these are people that like bitch about moving your seat to pull the car in. It's like, I'll rip your fucking head off, you know? And I was making $900, was it a week or every 2 weeks? I think it was every 2 weeks. $900 was my paycheck. And my buddy Sam, Sam Iavino, he's now the general manager at Bowser Chevrolet, a great friend of mine. He was like, dude, you got to get into sales. Like, you have the personality, you have what it takes to be in, you'll make a ton of money in sales, tons of money. So after like thinking about it for a month, I was like, man, I don't want to be a sleazy car salesman, like straight stereotypical, you know. I'm like, I don't know if that's the route I want to take. But I said, fuck it, I'll do it. So I did it. And like the first month I sold like 30 cars, just to all people I know. And then 40, 50, 60. I still have the record for the most cars ever sold in 1 month. There was like 67 cars. So I was back up to making like 200 grand a year, you know, and I was super comfortable, and I got used to it. I got used to the hours that I was working. They would give me 1 day off a week. I never took it. I worked Monday through Saturday for 2.5 years. The only time I ever took off was for my honeymoon, because I just got so competitive with myself, and I always kept wanting to break my records. And then I got in like the business development manager job where you get all the internet calls, and I just got really busy, and I just never took a day off, and I was just happy making the money. But like the owner at the time was really good to me and would let me leave anytime I wanted. I could go to the gym anytime I wanted, and I could go train. I was still fighting, and it was like owning my own business inside of a business, which is where I thrive. You know, I thrive on being challenged and having some sort of incentive. You know what I mean? And that's how I lead people now. You know, that's how I look at people like, well, how can I incentivize this guy to really just give it his all? You know, so it was great. And then so my buddy Simon reached out to me, and we didn't know each other at the time. And he was like, man, we should meet for lunch. And I knew he was doing well. I was following him on social media at a very, very, very successful insurance business. He's been doing that for 19 years now. And I saw some people that I knew that were making amazing type of money. And I was like, and I know if they can do it, I can do it. I think I'm better than them. So after thinking about that for a month and a half, I ended up getting my insurance license. And it was a hard decision to make because it was unknown. But I knew deep down inside I didn't want to stay in the car business. It's a rough life. Yeah. It's a lot of hours. Anybody in the car industry can relate to that. You're working every holiday, every weekend, every evening. I mean, you're coming in on Saturdays delivering. It's rough. Yeah. It's a rough life, but you can make a great living doing it. But I was like, man, I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to make a change. It was really hard because I loved everybody there. I had a really good relationship with everyone. And I cried when I left, you know, like a little bitch. I was like, man, I feel so bad, but I got to do what's best for me. Yeah. And just jumped 100% in, fully in. And believe it or not, 2 weeks later, I'm in this insurance industry, and I'm driving around seeing people all over the place, putting miles and miles and miles on my car. You know, sitting down with people, blowing cigarette smoke in my face, sitting on chairs with chicken shit on them, birds flying. Like, I would go to like trailer parks and sell insurance, and there'd be fucking chickens flying around.
You're talking life insurance, right?
Okay. Yeah. And it was really rough at first because you're dealing with, you know, really blue collar people, and the blue collar niche demographic that the company I work for represents. It's the demographic of like $25,000 to $75,000 a year, and you know, $100 a month to somebody. That might be taking food off the table for the family. So it's a really hard sale. So it was just hard, and you know, I'm like, dude, this is rough. So I quit. I was like, I can't do this. And 2 weeks later, I went back to the dealership, and I was like, can I get my job back? And the owner at the time, he was like, no. He was like, I already hired 3 people to take your position. He's like, you need to do this for longer to see if you actually can do it. And I did it. I was like, man, fuck, what am I going to do? He was like, do it for a year. Like, give it a year. And if it doesn't work out in a year, you can come back. You can come back anytime. But you didn't give it enough time. And so I was like, man, I'm going to do it. All right, fine. I went back, and my buddy Britton Costa was like, dude, really explained the structure of the company to me. And I had like an epiphany and a coming to God. I'm like, you know what? All right, cool. I'm going to switch to, I'm not going to see any of the members anymore. I'm just going to straight network and referral. And I just started blasting everything on social media, really networking, guerrilla marketing, passing out business cards everywhere, flyers, whatever I had to do. And I would see people that I knew or I got referred to, and I only had to see 10 people a week instead of 30. And I was selling 9 out of 10 instead of 1 out of 30, 2 out of 30. And these are people that own businesses, make money. So then I was like, all right, this is cool. I'm closing mad deals. And I got to the point where I was like, all right, this is cool. I love selling, but I want to teach people how to sell. Then I stopped selling and I started teaching people how to do the selling part. And I started recruiting a lot of talent and building teams and offices. And till this day, this is, the life insurance part. I've made more money doing that than anything I've ever done. And then you get a residual from everything you sell. So the residuals, pay for my mortgage on my house. And, so that was the biggest vehicle for success for me, just to be completely honest. And I liked it. I loved it. I still do. I still am involved for now. But that taught me a lot of discipline, a lot of mental toughness. It also, it's a toxic industry. It really is, because you have a lot of young people that come in that have no background in anything. They're just coming out of high school. They're just coming out of college. They don't give a shit about you. They blame you for your failures. They blame you for everything. You bend over backwards for them. They backstab you and go to the next person. Like, that's the kind of industry it is. And everyone's always, blaming you for their problems and this and that. But they don't do the work that it takes. So it's like, that's the tough part about the business. But then the rewarding part about the business is I've had people that I've recruited personally and molded them into just an amazing human being. I have people that are making $500,000, $600,000 a year that don't even drink, don't even go to clubs in their 20s. Their night out is going to a nice steakhouse and then going home so they can get a good night's sleep so they can be up at 5 a.m. and go train. So it's like, that is like the best compliment I could ever have. Yeah. And that's like what kept me around. So it's like, you got to take the good and the bad. But the insurance industry, I made a lot of money there. And I learned my lesson. I didn't spend it. Okay? I didn't spend it. I saved every fucking dime. And then I took the money and I bought a car wash. And then I bought some commercial properties. Like, the commercial properties I bought, I paid for in full. And no mortgage. That's just straight income rent coming in every month. The car wash, I had to put, I think like $160,000 down to buy the car wash. And then I redid the whole entire thing. And the bank was like, we're not going to finance you for the new equipment, but we'll do, basically I had to pay half of $500,000. So another $250,000 to make this an operating brand new turnkey place. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm putting my eggs out there and my soldiers are working for me. Because if you have a bunch of money sitting in the bank, it's pointless. It's not doing anything for you. Like, your money has to work for you. So now I'm making smarter decisions, calculated risks, things like that. I'm like, I'm not going to buy a bunch of stupid cars, but here I am. I have a bunch of stupid fucking cars, right?
There's one in the driveway.
Yeah, but I'll never get that out of me. That's how I you know what I mean? It's like, it's my release in life. I need to have some stupid shit. Mm-hmm. But I learned my lesson on wasting money, and it's all, even the cars I buy. Like, I buy cars, I don't buy them brand new. I buy them with very low miles. Someone else took the depreciation on them. And I buy cars that, like the Shelby outside, like, that's a really, really hard car to get. I had to get that from California. But I could sell that for $5,000 more than I paid for it right now. Exactly. After beating the shit out of it for the past 5 months. So, like, I do shit like that, But like the Chevelle and the 67 Corvette I'm building, these things are going to be worth this much money. Yep. And my Chevelle, I can make $100,000 on my Chevelle. Yeah. But the Corvette we're building right now, this thing's going to be nasty. But that thing, that you could take that car to Meekum, and as long as the right buyer's in a room, someone's paying $500,000 for that car when it's done.
Yeah.
But like those are the risks that I'll take now.
You're making smart risks though.
Have to. Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not buying a boat. I'm not buying dumb shit. I'm not wasting all my money on designer clothes and things like that. But it's just living. I bought a house that was well within my means. That I waited. Honestly, I could have lived in a house like I live in now a long time ago, but I'd have been struggling. And I'd have been like, man, I don't want to struggle. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. So I waited until my residuals from the insurance industry were at this certain amount of money that would take care of the mortgage, that I knew even if I had a bad month that my residuals would pay for my mortgage, and that's another calculated risk. And I took that and, it worked out. So it's like, I'll give myself goals to hit before I actually buy something. You know what I mean? Like, here we are. I want this. All right. I know when I have this, I can do that. It's just, you grow up a little bit and you get smarter.
So when I asked you that question to start this, I said, what's your secret to financial freedom? When I was thinking about asking you that question days leading up to this, I didn't really know what your answer was going to be. I thought you would maybe say luck, investing, anything and everything. Mm-hmm. You said discipline.
Yeah.
I think that's the foundation.
Yeah.
But to exponentially grow, you need to start doing the investing.
Yeah.
The risk.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
dude, there's so many things that I hate to do every day. Right? I hate going to my car wash every day and cleaning up after people. They leave fucking garbage everywhere. You've seen the shit on the floor. I have to clean up human shit sometimes.
what car wash is it?
It's Lumberjack's Laser Wash in Penn Hills.
Naturally.
And every day I have to go there. If not every day, every other day. But I go there every day no matter what. But I hate going there and cleaning up garbage. There's 2 vacuums out front. And park on either side of the vacuums, this side, this vacuum, this side, this vacuum. And people park there, they dry their car off, they, do whatever they got to do, and they fucking dump garbage bags in the garbage. There's garbage all over the floor. And they look at it. I have cameras everywhere. I watch it in real time from my house at night. Like, look at this son of a bitch. I know he's going to litter. I know it. I fucking know it. Sure enough, it drives me crazy.
I know.
But I go there every day because I have OCD. I guess everything I do has to be like neat. And I clean up garbage after people. I'm like a garbage man. And I hate doing it. But
That's your business. That's your baby.
I'm going to quote one of my favorite human beings of all time, Mike Tyson. Discipline is doing what you hate, but doing it like you love it. Right? Mm-hmm. So I love going there and cleaning up after people's shit.
Said no one ever.
That's what I got to do.
But Greg, the fact that you're picking up people's garbage when you could hire somebody to do that,
yeah,
it probably makes you feel good.
Yeah, I'm
a
super
sick kind of way.
hands-on with everything.
Yeah.
If I had 3, 4, 5 car washes, then I would hire like a manager to manage all of them. But only having one, it's not really worth hiring somebody to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd like to take responsibility for my own stuff too. So I'm like I tell Zach all the time, Zach
Williams.
Project One. Yep. I tell Zach all the time because he's young and I love giving him advice. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I will do anything in this office that anyone needs. I was like, I just got done cleaning the toilets. I was like, I don't care. Like, it's like Zach does the majority of the sales, but he also goes back there and he packs boxes, packs orders. Like, he'll do whatever needs done. He's got that good mentality. And, I'm like, dude, whatever needs done, we do. Like, we're not above doing anything. If it needs done, just fucking do it.
That's good, man.
And, you have to have that mentality. You can't think you're better than anyone I don't care picking up. It bothers me. It bothers me more that people disrespect my property and my business more than me having to pick it up. Yeah. It's just like, ugh.
If you go to Lumberjack's Laser Wash,
clean up after yourself.
He has cameras. We're going to out everyone who's leaving garbage in the comments below. Yep. So watch yourself.
My Facebook, remember my Facebook post a couple weeks ago, the dude taking a shit at my other office.
Did you find out who it was?
I did. I got the phone call where I called him, but I had to delete it. I didn't want to get sued. But somebody reported it nudity or something. It got taken down. I got like a 24-hour restriction. Fucking Facebook.
Well, you can't show someone taking a shit on Facebook
No,
anymore.
I guess not.
What kind of world are we coming
Yeah.
to?
It was probably him. He probably looked me up and said, like,
probably
oh,
did.
there's my pruny butt. I don't want people to see my pruny butt.
Oh my gosh. All right. You've talked a lot. You must be thirsty.
Yeah, let's what are we drinking?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. You tell me. What do you want to drink?
I'm gonna leave this one up to you. Ooh. I'm like a garbage disposal. I drink anything, eat anything.
Cheap date.
I am a very cheap date. I like pizza, wings, burgers, Tito's vodka. I'm not very fancy, but I like Elijah Craig. I do I do old fashions with that.
Here.
I like Buffalo Trace.
This is unopened.
Okay.
I'm going to open this for you, my
Special
friend. This is Bardstown Origin Series rye whiskey finished in toasted cherry, wood,
Ooh.
and oak. Oh my gosh, does that
Sounds
sound
fancy.
good?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Gregg is co-owner of Projectable Nutrition, hence his shirt and hence all this stuff behind us. But I do appreciate that he is willing to drink bourbon with me.
Oh, I love bourbon. Pat's a good bourbon guy. He appreciates a good bourbon.
Well, he didn't drink it when he was on. That's okay.
He didn't drink? He doesn't drink that much anymore.
No, he did. I'm sorry. He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have yelled at him.
Yeah, he did.
Pat-
Yeah, he
Pat will
said
drink
he
with
said
me
he
occasionally.
doesn't. He doesn't drink much.
You got a lot of discipline too. He's super disciplined man.
Good for him. Yeah, he was a pleasure to have on. He's a really good guy.
He is. Giant heart on that man.
Oh yeah.
Very smart too.
He's changed a lot in the last few years.
Well,
you know.
he's been through a lot. He's got a pretty interesting story too. He's failed a lot. He's won a lot. And he's been a blessing to me. He's been a great mentor to me too. Like I hit him up weekly with my venting, I call it. But he's always got the right thing to say. He always calms me down. I'm like, it's so important to have people like that in your life. He's such a good dude.
Yeah.
Amazing man.
Cheers, buddy.
Salud. Well, that is good. That's very good. You could get that little cherry on the back end.
That's delicious.
Damn, that's really good.
So, Gregg, you said the word mentor. And it's funny you said that because I was thinking of how to roll in the mentor conversation with you. You said you coached up a lot of young kids in the insurance business. And you also said that a lot of those kids end up not falling into that successful 20-some-year-old being reckless.
Yeah.
They're at home being irresponsible.
Yes.
Did you mentor those kids as well?
Yes, to a certain point. Yeah. The ones that, it's funny you said that, like they don't do like the crazy 20-year-old stuff. Those are the ones that don't last in the business because the discipline it takes, they just outweighs, they just can't keep up. But yeah, I'm like, listen, I've made this mistake before. Don't make this. This is what you do, and they really take it into consideration. I really like iron that down for them. Like, don't do that. Do this. Like, come on, be good with your money. Make sure your taxes are paid. This shit's going to catch up to you. There's so many things. But like in that industry, when somebody's going to make it, when somebody's not going to make it. You can just tell in the first couple weeks. But I have some people that are really special that are extremely disciplined, and they don't drink that much. They don't go party. And these are guys that drive brand new Lamborghinis and G-Wagons and brand new Range Rovers. Like they're living in high rises in Miami. These dudes can very, very good looking, can have any girl they want. These are guys that could clean up, and they're just business focused.
Laser focused. Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys are going to be so rich one day. It's crazy. And I'm just remember Uncle Gregg when you are, please.
There's only so much that you can teach, right? Like you can try to help all day long.
Yeah.
They have to absorb that.
Yeah. Yeah. You could take somebody so far, but for them to get to the next level, it's up to them. You know what I mean? You can show everybody the path, but if they're not willing to do the work, if they're not willing to put in the time, or if they're not willing to do what it takes to have that, it's not going to happen. So it's like you can do whatever you can for somebody, but ultimately it's up to them. And then nobody's going to do the work for you.
Right.
Nobody. I've learned that a long time ago. And it's, if you want something, you have to work for it. You have to get it. You have to go after it. You have to take the chances. Nobody's going to be there holding your hand.
I mean, you're the perfect example, man. Your parents were well off, and they kind of like threw you out of the nest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a funny story too, man. So my parents, like 2020 COVID killed my parents' business. And they were getting ready to retire anyways, honestly. They were tired of it. But they had a very, very, very successful business for a long time. It was established in 1965, I believe, by my dad's dad. And my dad's father partnered with this other guy in West Virginia, and they created this pump business in industrial pumps. They had different locations. One was in West Virginia, one was in Pennsylvania here, and sold it. The one in West Virginia, they sold, I think, for like $7 million or something, long time ago, like when I was like 2 years old, 3 years old. And my grandfather died, I think, 9 months later or 11 months later, something like that. He didn't even get to enjoy the money. You know what I mean? He bought a Range Rover because that was like his dream car, and then built a house on Pinnacle Peak Golf Course in Arizona, and died like basically a year later. But my dad wasn't ready to take over the business. He was in like that state, like just working there. But my dad, took over the business, took it to what it was. And then my dad's, he was in his late 60s when, in the 2020, and he just didn't have it in him anymore. And my mom was working there full time doing the books and, accounting and everything like that. And they're in their golden years. They just want to start to retire. And my brother didn't really have the means to take it over at the time. And he's more of, he's like a very loyal, hardworking person where he's like the guy, like, all right, show me what to do and I'll do it. And it'll get done. You know what I mean? He's a little bit different than me. Like, I want to run things. Yeah. He just wants.
He's kind of like the grunt. Yeah. Not to call it the grunt, but yeah.
He's very, very loyal, hard worker. Like, if you tell him to do something, it'll be done, and it'll be done perfect. Like, you know what I mean? He needs direction. And so they started putting it out there that we're going to sell our business, and I was doing my own thing. I wasn't involved in the time. And they got an offer from someone, and they were like, we're going to take it. I thought it was way low than what it was, according to their yearly sales. And I'm trying to tell my parents, like, you guys are selling this way too cheap. They're like, we just fucking want out. We just want to retire and go to the cabin. And, there was two parcels of real estate attached to the business that the new company really didn't want to buy. They just wanted to take over the business and the employees and the accounts. That's all they were interested in, was getting into my parents had like the best accounts, and came down to the week of the closing, and turns out that my dad's uncle, who my dad had to fire a long, long time ago for not working, was still on the deed to the one building. These buildings were paid off in full, like there was no mortgage. But my grandfather, I guess, put his brother on the deed because he was involved in the business. But my dad fired him, and there was beef over it long, long time ago. So when you do the title search, now you have to explain why someone's on the title, the deed, and then now they're part owners of that, right? So this guy's dead, and my parents don't talk to that side of the family because they had beef over this whole firing thing. Even my dad gave him a severance and a country club membership and all this shit and a car, and he didn't deserve none of it. So now we're trying to reach out to the kids of this guy, and they're like, oh wow, there's a big
inheritance
payday coming, right?
Yeah.
So I just couldn't, and my dad was like just losing his mind over this, just so upset. My mom, they were just so stressed. I'm like, let me get involved. So I got involved, and I got in contact with the guy that was going to own the new company. And I was like, listen, because the deal was about to be off. They're like, if we don't get the real estate, then, we don't want this. And my parents were like, oh my God, we're fucked. And I'm like, you know what? I'll buy both. I'll buy both right now. So I wrote my parents a check for both of the pieces of property. And I told the guy, I was like, listen, I'm going to take over the buildings, and I'm going to handle this shit with the family. And, but I want you to take care of still buying my parents' business, but I want you to give them 20% more, because now you don't have to deal with selling these 2 properties. You don't have to worry about the tax. You don't have to worry about capital gains tax, because I know you're not keeping them. So like, I had this whole strategy figured out. So my parents got more money. Now I inherited these 2 buildings. The one right away, because it was just my parents on the deed, that got switched to me. But the other one, I got a hold of the one person. I said, okay, your dad's on this deed. I need you guys to sign off on it on there. And they were expecting money. Like, okay, well, I said, well, first of all, this isn't worth what you think it is. And I said, your grandfather's been on the deed since 1965. So that means that you owe me back taxes since 1965. We put 3 roofs on, we put 3 parking lots in, utility bills for the past, blah, 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 blah. So basically you owe me about $800,000. And they're like, oh, we'll sign it. So I got that deed taken care of. The one building I put a body shop in, rented out, I get $4,500 a month off of that. The other building I put my insurance business in. So worked out.
Dang.
Yeah, but thank God I had the money to do that, because I wasn't wasting it. I was saving it for not risky things, calculated risk.
Responsible Gregg.
So again, learning from your mistakes.
Yeah. So I want to go back to college, not to take a hard left here. You said you lasted, what, a month or something?
I lasted 3 semesters, I think.
Okay. So not long. What is your viewpoint on college these days and corporate America?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be pushed on you heavily, especially when I was in college. That was like the only smart option, is to go to school, get a degree, then get a job.
Right.
There's a lot of other opportunities now. Kind of like, tell me what your opinion is on college versus no college.
I believe you need college if you want to be a lawyer, a doctor. I believe you need college. I think basically in all law enforcement, you need to have a college degree, mostly, I think. But if you know what you want to be and you know you need a college education to do that, I think you should do it. I think college is completely overpriced. I think it's a scam as far as the monetary side of it. But I don't believe that you need it in business. I think that, the business courses that I had, my major was business development, or was business something. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was something business related. The business courses I took, it was professors that never started a business in their life. So I'm a very firm believer on take advice from people that you would want to trade places with. I'm not going to trade places with someone that doesn't, isn't doing very well, and I'm not going to take advice from you. I'm not going to take advice from a man that cheated on his wife 7 times, marriage advice. You know what I mean? Same thing. I'm not going to take business advice from no one that ever owned a business. So I think it's overrated, and I think that you don't need it for certain things. But like my wife, for example, she has a marketing degree, and then she has her master's in marketing. But that's someone who needed college, who needed that degree. So she can get any job. She's highly desirable in that industry because she has her master's degree in that. That speaks volumes to employers, right? So that's an instance where you would need it. I know people that are in construction that make $10 million a year that never went to college, that could barely, that if you put calculus or algebra in front of them, they'd be like, I don't know what the fuck this is. You know what I mean?
Different language.
But they're so street smart,
Yeah.
and they're so smart from the school of hard knocks, which we call it, was, learning from your mistakes. I think right now, if you are young and if you don't know what to do, get really good at a trade. You will make an unlimited, uncapped amount of money if you know and if you are good at a trade.
Yeah.
Flooring, electric, plumbing, like things that people don't want to do, bricklayer, like you can have an untapped amount of income. Like you can do it.
And the thing about that is you can name your price.
Yes.
If you work
Nobody wants to work anymore.
Well, yeah. And because I work for corporate America, I've worked for corporate America for 23 years, and someone else dictates what I'm worth.
Yeah.
And
I call that slavery. That's fucking slavery.
That makes me, but yeah. And look, up until I'd say 2 years ago, I was okay with it because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Now that I'm starting to sort of venture into I have a training business. I'm an entrepreneur now, the podcast. I'm starting to venture outside of that box. Now I don't want to work for anybody anymore.
It's hard to work for someone when you've worked for yourself.
Yes.
But I will tell you this. There are many, 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 many nights where I don't sleep. There are many nights where I put my hands over my head and I go in the bathroom and just sit there. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, there's so much stress to owning your own business. It's hard, but it's very, like, you have to love it. You really do. You really have to love it. You have to be thick-skinned. You have to have a lot of motivation. You have to be super, like I keep saying, disciplined. You got to be such a disciplined person. But I just, like Project One, man. Project One has so many amazing things going right now. And we're in this stage where we have so many things about to happen where I can see it, but I just can't touch it yet. And it just drives me nuts. Like, I can't wait for everyone that's put in so much work for the past 2.5 years to start reaping the benefits of it. And it's so frustrating to me that it's, because my patience is, I keep trying to work on it, but my patience is my worst attribute by far. I am not a patient person. I want something and I want it. I go after it. I want it now. And so it's like, I know where we're going with this, and I wish I could just reel it in and just grab it right now, but it takes time. It's very special. It's a very special thing. So it's like, oh man, but like, I don't sleep very much, man. I got a lot of stress. I've learned not to take it out on my family. Like, that was one thing that I started to do that I noticed. Like, come home and my wife would be like, "How's your day?" And they just want to talk. They just want to know, they want to be involved. And you deal with so much shit that you're just like, by the time you get home, you just don't want to talk about it. Yeah. And I'm like, listen, after her explaining to me, like, you never talk to me about, I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about it, but she's a part of it, Sure. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it without her. So I've learned that I need to express that more and have her more of, like, I need to talk about it, even though you don't want to. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it's hard. Like,
well, it feels good to talk about things.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes it's good to get it off your chest.
But it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Sometimes being in corporate America, knowing that you're going to get this amount of money every week, no matter what, it's a security blanket, but people get used to it. So it's all about the life you want to live. If you're comfortable with that life, if you want that 9 to 5, and the amount of money you're going to make, and you have everything calculated out, like, all right, I know what kind of vehicle I can drive. I know what kind of house I can live in. I know I can take this vacation every year with my friends and family. I know I'll have this much amount of money that I can spend on beer and pizza every week. And some people need that.
That's boring as shit.
I could never do it. But some people that don't have the mental toughness, some people that don't have what it takes to do that, that's what they need.
Yeah.
They're different type of people, man. There's two very different type of people out there.
And that is my life, the 9 to 5.
I'm glad that you are starting to see the entrepreneurial lifestyle of it and the benefits that come with it. Hopefully you see the struggles that come with it as well. So you respect it and it humbles you. But just imagine if you didn't have the corporate life and you depended on what you're doing by yourself. It'd be even harder and different. Stress. I mean, you'd respect it even more. Yeah.
And it's like, what's the value in the return of the investment of all the entrepreneurial stuff? So for every episode I film, I probably spend 15 to 20 hours to edit, to put the intros out, watch it back a few times, make sure, nobody said anything stupid that needs cut out, anything. Yeah. That's a lot of time.
Absolutely.
I'm getting nothing back from that other than I feel great that I was able to do it. I produced it myself. It feels amazing. I'm not getting any financial return on it yet. right? That's a hard pill to swallow. It's like, why am I doing this? But I have to keep my focus on the mission.
Yeah.
My mission is you and the next person in that seat. And you telling your story and inspiring somebody that's watching
Getting it
this,
out there.
right?
Yeah.
Because you've already inspired me, because I didn't know I didn't know you were like as cool of a guy as you are until
thanks,
you
bud.
told me your story. I thought you were that, I don't want to say cocky guy, but you had it all your whole life. Nothing ever went wrong. But knowing that that is far from the truth,
Yeah.
I look at you completely differently now.
Yeah, dude, I got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble. And I got a record to prove it.
Yeah.
So that's something I've changed. Like
Yeah.
people that really, really know me, like, dude, you are so different. You know, like I still have a demon inside me. Believe me, I do.
Yeah.
But I harness that bad boy. There's things I want to do. There's things I want to say and put out there that I can't. You know, I represent people. I represent my family, and you know what I mean. It's like,
You have to be very careful.
you do, especially in this now and age with social media. That's why I got into fighting. I was like, oh, you mean I can beat people up for money, make money, and not go to court and get sued? I'm
Sign
fucking
me up.
in.
Yeah.
Sign me up. That's why I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
You know, but it taught me a lot of respect for
Yeah.
other people too. And
Yeah.
I realized how much of a piece of shit that I was acting like, and I'm like, man, I can't act like that. But you know, that's the beauty of learning and just becoming a better human being.
Yeah. You've brought up your family a few times. You do have a beautiful family, but you did allude to the fact that you failed as a father.
I did for
How?
sure. You know, I want to say I was young when I had my first daughter, and you know, I was focused on building a business, and I was so young, and me and her mother never had a good relationship. It was very toxic from day one, and she never had like that family, that at home family lifestyle. We tried, we honestly tried, but I was to the point where I was like, I there's no way this is ever going to happen. And her mom felt the same way. I mean, I'm not going to take blame for it, and I'm not going to blame her or anything like that. But like, I would have loved to given my daughter a better life growing up, you know, and she never had like what my kids have now. And she looks at that, and I feel awful, you know, and she's makes remarks all the time. Like, you got this perfect life now, and you're perfect kids and this and that. And makes me feel awful. But I was like, I was young, and, you know, I never planned to have a child at that age. And, you know, it just didn't work out with me and her mom, and I feel awful. That's how I failed as a father. But I'm, you know, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to talk about.
I'm sure.
But I still work really hard on the relationship with her, and she's an 18-year-old female. So, you know, it's tricky, you know, and I don't have the patience, like I said, and sometimes I don't say the right things, but I'm super emotional, and you know, I don't know, I have a big heart, but I wish I could fix it all, but it's unrepairable, you know, like if like, it's tough for a kid to grow up in a broken home, but it happens a lot, you know, it happens to everybody nowadays. I think the divorce rate's 50-60%.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just felt like I failed in that sense, but it doesn't mean that I can't be a good father now, you know. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that is tough, man. It's like you can't change the past.
She's been through a lot too. You know, you're talking about someone, she had cancer, and she lost the ability to walk for like 6 months. She was in a wheelchair from the chemo. Like, she's been through a lot. She's a fucking warrior. Very, very tough. Very tough. And, you know, but I'm there for her, and I'll give her everything now. You know, she'll have my soul if she needs it. That's the type of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But it's just tough when you could go back and be like, man, I wish I could have done it different. But you're in a position where it's like, if you can't live with someone, you know, your spouse or whatever, your partner, that makes it toxic for the kid for the rest of their life.
To force yourself to stay in that. Yeah.
It's just, but
Yeah.
that was like the hardest part hardest thing I've ever went through, man. was being a single dad like that. It's after being with somebody and then just living on your own and being a single dad, and you feel alone and you feel, that shit's hard. It's rough. And you're trying to build a business at the same time. Like my wife, God bless her, when I was working at the car dealership, I was working 9 to 9, 8 to 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. I would pick my daughter up from school. She would go to the dealership with me, hang out, and we would, work together. She was a little girl. And then my wife would pick her up, go get her nails done, go swim, all this stuff. And, I couldn't, that was tough for me there too. I was like, man, I just want to be with them, but I'm here working.
Yeah, you lost a lot of time.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So it's like, there's a lot I wish I could go back and change, but we're here now, you know?
Well, hopefully one day she realizes that you had good intentions.
Yeah.
You were trying to find yourself too.
Yeah.
Trying to find what worked for you.
Yeah.
It's, it sucks that she was kind of like, I don't want to say left behind or kind of set to the side.
Yeah.
But you were, at the end of the day, you were trying to provide for your family.
Right.
And you had to sacrifice to do that.
Exactly.
So
we'll see.
Yeah. Didn't mean to put you on the spot with that question.
No, it's a good question.
I appreciate you elaborating
This is real.
on that.
I mean, this is real shit.
It is real shit.
And it's things that people know, but a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
But it's important to me to be a good father.
Yeah.
So I'm trying my best now.
So you said patience is probably your downfall.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any others?
I have a temper. I've learned to not react and just kind of think about it for a while before I react. And I've made a fool of myself quite a bit over anger and had to go in and apologize and be a big man. That's one thing that I'll try to do now is like, oh God, this just happened. I'm blowing up. I'm reacting.
Yeah.
But then calm down, think about it, put yourself in their shoes, like think about it, don't be an idiot, and take time to think about it. And that's something I've done in the past couple of years where I'm like, all right, I'm going to react to it tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow and talk to you about it or something, it's like, because then I'm like one of those guys, like a super big heart, but huge temper. And, I have a lot of friends. We get into some shit, and then the next day it's like, I'm sorry.
You're hugging it out.
You know what I mean? Like, I have a few people like that. They're like, I'm used to it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But that's something for sure.
Not to ask you to kind of categorize like what sparks that temper, but is it typically under just like a disagreement or?
I think just because I want something done a certain way and it's not done a certain way, and it's like, I hate to say I'm like a perfectionist, but because I'm not perfect at all. And I just expect things done a certain way and you get frustrated, and it's like, especially when you have to be repetitive about it. Like, how are you not getting this? It's like,
I see.
I don't know, but sometimes I have I had a horrible week last week, and sometimes you take it out on the people you love because you don't have
the first target.
Yeah, you don't have anyone else to take it out on. Yeah. I like to try to take it out in the gym or on a punching bag, but at some point, I think you still need like that human interaction to take it out on, which sucks. It sucks for the people that have to eat it, but that's something that I try not to do anymore. But it's also good to have people that you can call and vent to, like a Pat. I'm like,
it's a Pat your punching
bag.
Can
you believe this shit? Like I have a few people like that I call. I'm like, what should I do?
Yeah.
They're like, dude, calm down, listen, put yourself in their position. This is probably what they're thinking. I understand. And then you're like, oh my God, okay, I get it. Still pissed off, but I can understand a little bit better.
You fucked up before too, Greg.
Yeah. Yep. We've all been there.
Other people are going to fuck up.
So that's why it's important to have people in your life that you can call and get advice from.
So you do not belong in corporate America because you like things done your way.
Yeah.
Can you imagine people telling you how to do things their way? How would you handle that?
I've just been introduced to it recently, and it did not go very well for me. That's something I'm trying to get better with. As you guys know, since you're involved in a business, like we work with Martha Stewart, we work with GNC, we work with other corporate, companies like Walmart's and places like that. Completely corporate. It's hard. So I've always been like, my own boss and never had to deal with the corporate part of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had corporate accounts in construction where they would call me. I would deal with like the maintenance man, and I would, here's your quote. Oh, quote's good. Do the work. Thanks. Here's my check. That was the extent of it. But now, like working with like Martha Stewart's team, it's mainly females, and it's all corporate people. So I hate to say I have to walk on eggshells and all my, you know what I mean, but like you do. And I wasn't used to that. Thank God Pat has worked with corporate people before and had a lot of corporate accounts where he kind of takes the lead on that. Like he takes the charge on anything GNC related. And the Martha team, I deal with a lot now. I deal with, like, we started work with iHerb as well. iHerb's Dr. Oz's company. They sell in 182 countries. So I started working with them, and so it's like I'm selling. It took me a little bit of adjustment to get used to, put it that way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So everything is over email, and you have to make sure you say the right thing, and you can't be too aggressive and things like that. So it was a very, very difficult change for me to make. But yes, like my corporate Gregg side is completely different than me. And I think everybody has to, obviously. So, yeah. But it was a hard transition for me to make, and I'm like, oh, geez. Like, you're sitting there and you're writing an email, and it takes you 2 hours to write an email because you write it out, and you're like, oh, is this too aggressive?
That's too harsh.
Delete. Is this too aggressive? Let me use ChatGPT.
Yeah, right.
That sounds...
What's a nice way to say...
That sounds way too soft and weird. Yeah. Let me do it again. Pat, does this email look correct to you? He's like, yep, send it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I'm used to it now. But it's like you're evolving. You're evolving as a business person. You have to listen. The best business people in life are like chameleons, man. They can go into any room and they can talk to anybody. And that is something that I'm really good at. I can talk to a janitor just like I can talk to a CEO of the biggest company in the world. Yeah. And I can make you my friend in minutes and make you laugh and have an honest to God, great conversation with you and respect you. And you know what I mean? And that's what it takes to be a really good business person, is just to be able to relate to everybody. So
that's good, man. That's a good message. Because you can communicate and get along with anybody if you allow them in.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
You have to be able to read the room.
Yeah. It's one thing I'm really good at, and I walk into a room like I own that motherfucker, man. Talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm here. How you doing?
So you're the guy who sits down at the table and says, "Hi, I'm Gregg.
How you doing?
What's your name? What's your favorite color?"
Social butterfly.
So you're extrovert all the way?
Yeah, for sure.
Never shy?
No.
Yeah.
No. That's probably why people think I'm cocky. I think I'm really not that cocky at all. I think at some point you have to be a little bit cocky to get, your foot in the door. You have to, at some level, when you level up, people are going to think you're cocky no matter what. But you have to have some sort of ego. You know what I mean? You're not just going to go in and be ultra successful without having some sort of ego and some sort of cockiness.
Do we call it confidence or cockiness?
I was just about to say it turns into it's like confidence, and some people mistake that for cockiness. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could see how people would think I'm cocky, but I don't mean it to come off cocky.
Yeah.
It's just me being a confident man. You know what I mean? That's perfect. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job.
Thanks. Gold star.
Yeah. You get a gold star.
Gregg approved.
Yeah.
So, you walked into my house. You've never been here before. We've talked a few times. You walked in here like you've been here 20 times. You start walking around, touching
Petting
this,
the dogs.
petting the dog, like, but, and I wasn't like, that cocky motherfucker thinks he lives, like, I was just like, oh, he's comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you should
absolutely.
be. I want you to be comfortable
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. That's what the whole point of it is.
All right, let's move these out of the way. Oh, geez.
Are you going to arm wrestle me?
Mm-hmm.
I really shouldn't.
What do you mean you shouldn't?
See these things? I tore both of them off. Both biceps.
I mean, we don't have to.
I know, but I never back down from a challenge. No, I busted both biceps fighting right off the bone, punching people. They're good. I mean, they're secure, obviously. But arm wrestling is like the worst thing.
Obviously.
There's more
He's
busted
cocky?
bicep tendons by arm wrestling than anything else. That's like the,
Okay.
it's like the,
Yeah, that's like the
I better
weak
not.
point. You don't want to?
I really don't want to.
Let's just line up.
Okay.
We're not going to actually
Just wanna
like,
feel the power.
I mean, it wouldn't be an episode. The only person that got excused from arm wrestling me had rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, that's not an excuse.
We'll
You
just,
do have a giant hand.
everyone's like, it's like a bear paw.
It's a big mother. Well, mine aren't very big. Jesus!
How about a whole knuckle?
Wow. I need to hold your wrist.
I'm going to ask you a question as we
Okay.
arm wrestle. All right, you start when you're ready.
Okay. Ready?
Go ahead. What's your definition of success?
Definition of success is, let's see here. Definition of success would be having success and having respect at the same time.
Okay.
Having people love you, having people rely on you.
I don't hurt you.
Also being successful at it, I think. Success to me is being respectful of others, having people respect you, being good at what you do, and just being the best at your craft. I think that's success, you know?
Yeah,
I think that's what it takes.
that's good. I like that.
But it's hard. It's hard to have people love you and respect you when you're successful, because there's a lot of people out there that are rooting for you to fail.
And that's so they feel better about themselves.
That's the society we live in.
right?
Yeah.
To bring you down,
Yeah.
to pull them up.
But it's all about how you carry yourself. Like I think that you can win people over by being a humble, respectful person. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's like in today's age, you have to market yourself and you have to put what you do out there, you know, and everyone thinks that you're just trying to brag or, you know, or boast about what you have going on. But really, it's just about to share your opportunity, what you have out there. And I think that also people are proud of themselves, you know, and they want to share what they have going on. But I think people take it a different way. Like, oh, look at this again. Now he's doing this.
He's putting in a hot tub.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing. I saw the story. But yeah, like, look, the most I know you is through social media.
Yeah.
I admire your life. You're successful. I want that. But I'm never like what you just said. Oh, here we go again. He's getting these fancy rocks by his mailbox. Like, no, I'm like, that good for him, man.
Yeah.
You know, it
Those
makes me
rocks are
want to.
silly. I need to find somebody. Anybody out there can get me shiny black rock in bulk.
Please help him. Help a brother out.
Please. I got them at Lowe's. They're like $12.98 a bag for like 30 pounds.
Oh my.
Took me 60 bags to do that mailbox. Yeah.
What were you spraying on them?
Oh, diamond clear. It's like just a concrete clear.
Oh, like a clear coat?
Yeah, like a sealer.
To make them even shinier?
Yeah. Which worked out well because I soaked the shit out of them so they don't move. They're stuck.
Glued them.
So like a dog can
epoxied
come
them
by.
together.
And yeah. You could run a snowplow over those sons of bitches. They wouldn't
Oh my
move.
God. But seriously, like, you make me want to try harder.
Good.
You make me want to be better.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
You don't make me pissed off, or you don't make me hate you because of X, Y, and Z that you're doing. And I think that goes to show my personality too.
Yeah.
Is I'm not trying to pull you down to bring myself up.
Yeah.
I'm using you as a mentor indirectly. You know what I mean?
That's good. You know, coachable people are the ones that that level up. Yeah. Really, it takes a coachable person, and really, that's an ego thing too. Like you have to check your ego. You know, it's like walking into a room and you're not the most successful guy in the room. Yeah. Are you going to leave the room because you're bitter, or are you going to open your ears? You know, if I'm in the room and I'm the most successful person in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
Boom.
Unless I'm being paid to be there to speak to people or something, but that's not the case. I'm not a motivational speaker. But if I put myself in a room, I'm like, man, there's some talent in here. People doing some big things.
It's time to
I'm excited.
Notes.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm asking people questions.
Yeah.
Hey, how did you do this? What's the craziest thing you ever had to go through? What's the biggest adversity how'd you get through it? You know, things like that.
That's what I want to know about you.
Yeah.
Right?
And people love that. People love being asked that have been through some shit. Everyone's willing to talk about it, you know. And I think once you get to a certain level in life, it's your duty to give back to people. Doesn't have to be monetary. A few words of advice could go a long way. It could change someone's perspective and really their life.
Yeah.
So
that's good, man.
You owe it to people.
Like when we first started the episode, you're like, oh, I have to admit, I lived a very easy, nice childhood. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be boring.
I did, but I was on my own after that, man. And I've been obsessed with being successful since I was in an early age, man. I really have. Yeah. I really have. I'm not happy with where I am now. I feel like a piece of shit a lot of the time.
Really?
I do. I'm not in a good place right now mentally. I'll admit that. Yeah, I'm going through a lot right now, or a whole lot, man. This year I had like 20 people quit overnight and backstab me in my insurance business and fucked me completely over. That killed my income, killed everything, the growth and everything. I've had things happen that I wasn't expecting. And people you've bent over backwards for, people that you've put into position to win, and just completely just stick a knife through your heart. I've been through a lot this year. It's been a really, really rough year. But I'll tell you what, man, like once I get through this year, I will be untouchable. I really will be. I've been through a lot. But that's good. Like it's good to get those business calluses, man. Like this is what people need. Yeah. Once you get through it, you get that mental toughness that just shake it off, keep moving forward. That's what it really takes.
Yeah, good for you, man.
You know,
it sucks that you're going through it, but like you said, it's going to make you. It's going to scar you, make it toughen you, and you're going to come out even better. So.
Yep. But everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. I believe that.
This is just a different season for you, man, right?
Everything happens for a reason. But one thing leads you to another, and I think Project One is a blessing, and I think we're really about to do some amazing things this year. We've had things in the works for the past year and a half that are finally coming to fruition, and they're going to be big. So it's going to be a good thing.
I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All you guys.
Yeah. Before we close out, do you have any questions for me?
Questions for you. I like this. So, what's one of the biggest obstacles you've had to overcome lately? As far as business, life, any big adversity in your life?
That's a good question. So, I have a good job, right? I provide for my family. I provide for a lot of people. I have 3 children. I have 2 stepchildren. You know, I have my girlfriend. We're doing okay, right? It's not enough. I'm trying to find other ways to provide.
Mm-hmm.
Hence this. Hence my training business on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think one income's enough to survive anymore.
It isn't.
It really isn't.
It's not.
So I'm always looking for that breakthrough. What is that going to be? I don't know. Maybe this, maybe something I don't even know of yet.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked for a raise last week and it got turned down.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks. So now I'm like, oh, am I valuable to them?
Right.
How bad do they need me? How bad do they want me? And now I have to stay motivated, knowing that I'm not going to get rewarded for all the hard work I put in.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So now my mission is even more laser focused on getting out of corporate America.
Okay.
So I guess my obstacle right now is just finding that breakthrough. I'm a very patient person, unlike yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to work for it and wait for it. But my patience is kind of running thin.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not, the bills are paid. Like we have a good life, but it's
you want
just,
more.
it's not enough.
You want more.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that good things do take time, and you do have patience, which is good. It's a good virtue to have.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take in life. So keep taking your shots. The podcast is a shot. Your training business is a shot. Eventually one is going to go through the net and score, and it's going to be big. And I've been through a lot. I've taken a lot of shots. I've taken a ton, man. I've felt diminished. I've felt pathetic. I've felt nothing. And then something happens where you're not expecting it, and something you've been working for the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And, it's something just clicks and happens. It will happen.
Yeah.
You just have to keep fucking moving forward. You have to keep taking your shots, and you have to stay positive,
I am.
and use that corporate life to get you to the next level as a stepping stone. That's the best thing that I can say, in my opinion, and maybe a door will open there. You never know.
Right.
But, is there anything I can do for you? I'm here.
Yeah,
always.
I appreciate that. And I know I can reach out to you. You said something earlier that really resonated with me. And you said when you were selling cars, you were always working.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of feel like that is where I am right now because I have an 8 to 5. Then I'm going to the gym to train clients. I'm usually getting home around 8 o'clock at night. And then I'm typically editing for an hour or two every night. I'm filming this currently. It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. I film every weekend. So can we go away for a weekend? Not unless I don't film. If I don't film, I don't have an episode to go out every Monday.
Yeah.
Unless I bulk film a few days in a row during the week or something.
You're busy.
I'm busy. And I'm sacrificing time with my family to do this.
Yeah.
You did the same thing.
I did.
And I'm kind of in those shoes now. It makes me feel a certain way, but I'm also like, I just want to say, like, trust me, like, this is going to pay off. I know you can't get time back, but like, I feel like something's going to happen, and just ride it with me,
Yeah.
So
Time's one thing that we can't get back, but it also takes time to build something special.
yeah,
And what you get in reward from the specialness when it does pay off, I think outweighs the time. And nothing comes easy without a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Nothing. You look at anybody in the NFL and the major leagues, or any sport, any big businessman, you don't think they've sacrificed something.
Right.
You don't think they wanted to be at home. You know what I mean? Like, look at Kurt Angle. Like, I had a conversation with Kurt Angle. He's like, I was on the road 348 days a year, and I didn't even make $1 million. In my prime with the WWE. I don't know if I should say that, but you know what I mean? But that's someone who sacrificed their body, their time, you know what I mean? And what did he get? A broken fucking neck, broken shoulders, back surgeries, hip surgeries, knee surgeries. Everything is not easy, and there's a sacrifice to everything. It's just, we have to choose our path and our sacrifices, and so they will pay off. I promise you, they will.
I believe it will too.
They will.
And I'm not stopping.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. They will.
Yeah.
I know they will.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
My man.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Don't forget to watch one of these episodes and just subscribe.
Let's go.
It's free. It helps Gregg out. It helps my future guests. It helps me.
Free?
It's completely free to subscribe. All right.
Deal.
What could be better? I will see you on the next episode of Barbells and Bourbon.
Peace. It's good.
That was good stuff, man.